Welcome to the Houston Minority Business Development Agency's virtual Subs and Sandwiches webinar. Today, we have our corporate partners from McCarthy presenting here today, and we're excited to hear what they have to offer. I am Marshette Turner-Ray, and I serve as the director of the Houston Minority Business Development Agency, of course, here in Houston, Texas. Our Subs and Sandwiches platform is one of our signature programs, and we are always eager to inform you about opportunities that await you. And of course, we hope you're taking advantage of these opportunities as they're presented to you. Before we jump into our presentation this morning, you should know that during today's webinar, all attendees will be in listen-only mode. There will be Q&A at the end of this session where my team and I will be asking McCarthy the questions that you yourselves type into the chat. Please note that this presentation is being recorded and will be made available to all registered participants. You have to have been registered for this webinar in order to receive the recording. A couple of my MBDA team members are here, so let's give them a virtual round of applause and some claps and hearts in the chat. Of course, they are Ms. Jessica Vasquez, our program coordinator, and Ms. Deidra Sutton, one of our business advisors. We will now have a safety moment from Mr. John Walker of McCarthy. John, take it away.
Thank you, Marshette, and thank you to all of our guests online today. We wanted to take a minute and highlight one of our more recent safety practices. You'll see from this picture of our partner here, his headgear may look a little bit different. This is one of the various styles of helmets that McCarthy has turned to in the past couple of years. Working with our partners across the country at other general contracting firms, we noticed an unfortunate trend with significant safety incidents, injuries, and fatalities that could have been prevented had they been wearing a more robust form of headgear. So our traditional hard hats typically only provide protection from vertical falls atop the head. And we had noticed a lot of injuries where employees from relatively short heights were striking their heads on the side, fronts, or backs. So over the last year, we've phased in a policy requiring helmets across all of our jobs. Starting the first of the year, that is now mandatory for our subcontractors as well participating on a McCarthy project. At last count, I know there are about 16 different varieties of approved helmets from 6 different manufacturers. The availability and price continues to decrease as the demand for these goes up. I think you'll be seeing these more and more often, and this is a good forward-leaning way for us to make sure we protect the people that work hard for us every day and give them the safest working environment for years to come. Thank you.
I think Khalid is up next.
Yeah, so I'm Joey Khalid, pre-construction director here at McCarthy out of the Houston office. I want to take y'all through what we plan to talk about today in our agenda. So we'll do introductions as each person goes up and speaks, but we're going to touch on McCarthy a little bit and talk about some quick facts, talk about our markets, and then what regions we kind of function out of here in the U.S. We'll also discuss our DE&I commitment, upcoming projects and pursuits for all our business units here in Houston, along with our pre-qualification process and how to continue to stay connected with us. To start off with some quick facts, we just want to let the whole group know we're very proud that McCarthy is exceptionally financially healthy, which is a real win when it comes to working with our clients. It allows us to get jobs others may not be able to bond up to. So that really opens up a lot of opportunities for us. It also helps us lead and work with our other partners, our trade partners, to show them how to be successful. We are a true community builder. So you'll see we're in our regions, we're kind of swept across the nation, but we concentrate on our community. Here in Houston, we do a lot of community outreach events, try to get embedded with everyone. Hopefully some of y'all have seen me before or some of our other partners here on the call. So we really try to get out there and get to know everyone and give back to this wonderful community. We do a wide range of project types, and we'll talk about that a little bit in the market sectors. But that just opens up the opportunity for various opportunities on projects that everyone here can participate in and help us with. We are the number 19 ENR top 400 contractor. We're very proud of that. We are 100% employee owned, and we're the number 3 modern healthcare top general contractor for 2023, which we're very proud of. And you'll see healthcare is a very large part of our market. So diving into our markets, I'm going to hit on some of the big ones. Healthcare, of course, is a very prominent here in Houston, being close to the medical center. So that's one we really focus on. Then we have a lot of work in the higher education, parking, commercial, heavy civil, which Adil will talk to us a little bit more about, along with marine, which isn't specifically shown on here, but we do have treatment plants. So you can kind of see we do a slew of different markets and we have opportunities everywhere. To dive into our region, so we are broken up into 5 different regions. We have our North Pacific, South Pacific, Southwest, Central, and Southern. We are talking out of the Southern region, which is Houston, Channelview, Austin, Dallas, and Atlanta. So we are the people that can help you get opportunities anywhere in that area. And if you actually would like to do other work with us outside of our region, we can also point you to the right person for that work too. So we're definitely going to be hitting a lot on Southern, where our opportunities are here locally in Houston, and how everyone hopefully can be successful. And Adrian?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I am Adrian Williams. I am our Regional Director of Diversity, covering our Southern region, which was just shown on the previous slide, and supporting our efforts primarily here in our Texas markets. But have on the slide, again, we are a team of efforts. So Stephanie Lee is our Senior Director of Diversity, and she sits in Atlanta. But again, we both support the Southern region for our DEI team. So I want to talk about our culture of inclusion as a company, certainly starting at the top with leadership commitment. McCarthy, we're big on, again, making sure that we have support at all levels of our company, but certainly including from our CEO down. We are all in about leadership and making sure we're well represented when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Certainly key relationships. Excited to be here today, part of these efforts, making sure we're building relationships externally, as Joey mentioned, out in the community, from a service perspective, but also with business and industry, and supporting advocacy and organization groups in and around the DEI space. Community engagement also kind of bleeds into that as well. They go hand in hand, but certainly community engagement, making sure we're supporting the Houston MBDA and then their efforts and various activities that they offer throughout the year. Capacity building is certainly another one, making sure we're connected with the small minority and women-owned businesses. We've recently hosted, I think a couple of years ago, our McCarthy Partner Development Program. And so that is our in-house program that we have, again, to make sure we're building those relationships, the community engagement, but also helping to grow capacity from small business owners. But more important, it builds the factor to work with folks we know, like, and trust, and continue to grow so that they know how to do business with us, some of expectations, and then we get to know more about their businesses, and again, just find right fit opportunities, and all the while growing their business capacity and building capacity for small business owners. Opportunity creators, again, as the project, depending on what the project is, but certainly expanding the opportunities beyond maybe the reach of what we do specifically, but if we have other partners on our job, ensuring again that opportunities for all MWBs is happening at all levels throughout our projects. Again, honing in a little more on that commitment, every project, every time. For us at McCarthy, we have our internal goal of 20%. So even if there isn't a client-driven goal on the project internally, we are still looking at those efforts and identifying opportunities on all of our projects across the board, every project, every time. Again, our commitment is certainly to meet or exceed goals. So when there is a goal, we're certainly making sure we identify a strategy to meet those goals, but as well as, again, internally, always creating a plan. We have what's called a project-specific inclusion plan. And again, every project, we're starting ground zero of identifying opportunities, whether it's an assigned goal from the client or just internally for us, we're working to meet or exceed goals from a DEI perspective. I mentioned before a little bit facilitating introductions, but certainly on some of our larger jobs, working with other large primes or some of our larger trade partners, again, for lower tier opportunities for subcontractors and suppliers. And certainly being a resource and an advocate, just being the glue and a connector, whether it is, again, working with other trade partners, whether it's partnering other firms together and or reaching out to our advocacy and resource partners. But all those pieces come together to ensure that we're working to set goals and meet those goals on assigned projects.
Joey? I'm sorry, but we can't hear you. Joey?
Thank you. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our Houston commercial pre-con team here, located right in the heart of Houston. So Andrew Rupp is one of our pre-construction directors. He's one of my peers, along with Walker McDonough, who's another peer of mine that's a pre-construction director. We all handle projects as they come in the door, depending on what the type project is, or what fits best as far as capacities, where that goes. And then we have 3 estimating managers, Eric Carrillo, James Rickaway, and then Emily Christians. They're all really intricate part of our group and to ensure everything's running properly. Talk a little bit about commercial projects that we have coming up this year. We removed Q1 because right now we're already in heavy pursuits and they're already working towards either being bid out or bought out, a lot of them today. And then going into Q2, though, we have quite a bit. We have a life science and research corn shell building, and that we're expected to be here close to downtown Houston with a confidential client. If we are successful and brought on, we will have to achieve a diversity goal there that we want to with the 20%. I think we're actually going to aim higher towards that 25% for this client. For Christus St. Elizabeth's Hospital, this is a new bed tower that we're building in Beaumont for Christus. This also has our internal goal of 20%. And then we have a data center, which is kind of in North Houston area with a confidential client that we're in early conversations with, but we do see a path to being successful on that job, and we'll work to have MW participation on that one as well. Going to Q3, we have a research wet lab project here, kind of in the Texas Medical Center, if you know where that is, with a client there that we're still under an NDA with. There's been some publication online, so I'm sure you can figure out who it is, but it's going to be a 2-floor build out of an existing core and shell building. A lot of opportunities there, so please reach out if you're interested. And then Q4, we have TBD right now. We're working on a very large pursuit here in Houston that I'm sure most people know about. It's the LBJ Hospital. We're working towards that job. We have not been successful as of yet. We're still waiting to hear back officially. So we're pursuing that. We hope to be successful, and there is a 35% goal on that. And that job's roughly $1 billion. So a ton of participation and opportunity there. That's going to be needed from this community and everyone else in the Houston area. So there's a lot coming up for us here in commercial. We're really excited to get to know everyone.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Adil Malik. I oversee our estimating team over in Channelview, Texas, that handles predominantly our marine and industrial business unit. The way we're set up, our heavy civil group is out of Dallas, and our partners up there focus primarily on earthwork and utility scopes, and any sort of transportation type related projects, whether it's up in North Texas or down here in the Houston area. My group and my team, which includes Chuck Shive, who's our estimating director, and Keshav Vasudevan, our estimating manager, we oversee our marine work predominantly with Port of Houston, Port of Beaumont, Port of Freeport, and then also our private oil and gas clients here in Houston and the Texas Gulf. Some of the projects that we've got coming up this year focus primarily on Port of Houston. Port of Houston's got a pretty extensive work program. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the port, they do have a procurement website called BuySpeed. And anyone can log into BuySpeed to see what upcoming opportunities they have. The projects that I've highlighted over here are ones that McCarthy is pursuing as a prime. There are a lot more projects, smaller size projects that may be better suited for some small businesses to chase as a prime contractor. So please make sure you log on to the Port's BuySpeed website to get a full understanding of all the projects that the port has available. So looking at what we've got in Q1, there's a water supply fire protection project at Barbers Cut Terminal that actually just turned in today. There's an annual pavement rehab project that turns in next week, which is basically just small pavement rehabs on a will call order at both Bayport and Barbers Cut Terminal. Container Yard 6 at Barber's Cut is a big rehab project. It's about 50 acres or so of concrete pavement rehab. There'll be SWIP scopes, electrical, demolition, earthwork, utilities, structural concrete repair. As we move into Q2, Manchester Terminal Wharf 2 is a structural rehab of an existing wharf down over by the turning basin. That project's going to include some piling, some hydrographic surveys, as well as structural repair, demolition, concrete, earthwork, and utilities. Rehab of wharfs 20 and 21 at the turning basin, similar to Manchester Terminal, but without the piling component. It's mostly all structural concrete rehab and earthwork and utilities. And then lastly, kind of finishing out the year, Container Yard 8 at Bayport, which is on the east end of the terminal. For those of you familiar with the terminal, it's over by the cruise terminal, the former cruise terminal, I should say. And that's roughly around 30 or 40 acres or so of a new container yard. I would say that, with all the projects we bid with the port, they typically have anywhere from a 15 to 35% either a goal or a requirement, and they will indicate that in the proposal, whether it's a pass-fail or if it's a goal. But there are a lot of opportunities for small businesses. Some areas where we see deficiencies or not enough participation is on the electrical side, on the utilities, and on structural concrete repair. So if there's any firms out there that specialize in any of those scopes, please make sure you reach out to myself or anyone on our team so we can get you guys included on our bid lists.
All right, good morning again. I'm John Walker. I'm a project manager here with our water team. We are a national team with dedicated presence in each of our regions. Here on the page, you can see our Texas partners. McCarthy's been building water projects for 50 years, 20 of those in Texas. This is a market we're very proud to be in, as these drinking water, clean water, and sanitation projects have such a big impact on our communities. And as I'm sure everyone's aware, Texas continues to grow, and there's just a huge need for more of these projects, as well as reconditioning of existing plants across our region. Next slide, please. We do have one big project we're working on right now. This is the Berry Rose Water Reclamation Facility in Pearland, Texas. We're the seamer on that project, and we'll be delivering it in 2 phases. Berry Rose is a 5 million gallon per day wastewater treatment plant that is actually going to be combining flows from 2 different sites, 5 miles apart in Pearland, Texas. So in May, we will have the 90% designs and be going out to procure partners to work with on the Berry Rose site, which is the bulk of the work. That's about $200 million worth of work. And it's the design for the force main and pipeline across town, and the Longwood site is developed throughout the summer. We expect to go to bid on that portion in Q4. One thing I'd remind folks is, if you think maybe water or industrial products aren't your wheelhouse, all of these projects do include offices, laboratory facilities, the full spectrum of commercial type trades as well. So there are plenty of opportunities on our water projects.
Okay, just wanted to mention we do have a pre-qualification process. It's pretty standard, I guess, maybe to some of the other general contractors in the market, but we have a pre-qual. This is the website, the prequalification.mccarthy.com. And so there's where you'll enter most of your company information, where we ask for safety, quality, past project experience, and most of the things, again, very similar to what's submitted when you prepare a capability statement, but we have a site dedicated for that information through our pre-qual. And we also have a couple of members from our contract support team that can assist you, as well as myself. But the contact on the slide, Jen Weeks, is our contracts coordinator, but certainly we have folks on board that can support you getting that pre-qualification form submitted and completed. And do ask that that's a great starting point if you're interested in doing work or any of the projects that you've heard mentioned today. And then communication and documentation. So you certainly heard from our different sectors of work that we do. Again, from the market slide, we do perform work in lots of spaces. So we most of our work is disseminated through Building Connected. You may be familiar for those who are actively bidding with us, but if not, we encourage you to get signed up through Building Connected. That is where bid information is submitted for all of our projects or bid opportunities, similar to what you've heard today. And then keeping in touch as we kind of wrap up and prepare for Q&A. So I have my contact information, certainly to kind of can help navigate questions you may have or more information about anything you've heard today or other projects that we're bidding. So my contact information is available. And again, that information will be provided through Houston MBDA. And with that, we will wrap up. Those are the projects that we had to share. Again, thank you, Marshette and Jessica and the team for the opportunity. Always happy to do this. So we appreciate it. And we'll now turn it over to you guys for Q&A.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much. That was a whole lot of information in a little bit of time, but I see this chat is buzzing. So Ms. Deidra Sutton, I'm going to ask that you would start asking McCarthy some of the questions in the chat.
Absolutely. Okay. Are there any insurance requirements to bid for the project?
Depending upon the project, there may be some specific requirements. Like when we work on marine projects with the port, there is a USL&H requirement, which is the longshoreman's insurance requirement. Our typical requirements are $1 million per single event, 2 million aggregate, but again, it depends on the project. The pre-qualification website has more information with regards to the specific requirements needed, and then any one of the estimating leads will provide any additional information if it's going to be different than what our standard insurance requirement is.
Okay, got you. This is from Tristan Sylvester. Know that McCarthy does mostly construction-based projects. I wanted to ask if they have any need that would align with what my business does, which is designing and developing training and development for employees and contractors.
Yeah, so we have a corporate training group, a learning and development group. What we can do, Tristan, is get you connected with our corporate folks that help manage that. We've got it for our craft workforce as well as our salaried staff workforce. So there's different training programs and different development programs for each. So we can kind of get you in touch with them and see if there's an opportunity to collaborate.
Okay, and just to expound on that, because I'm kind of used to follow-up questions, things like that's out of the actual scope of work, like maybe some drone work or recycling, things that you could use, but not part of the actual contract. Who is the contact in McCarthy to help guide them for those opportunities?
Again, I think depending upon the specific scope that's needed, it could be someone that's on the project site. So something that would be either dumpster related, recycling, drone services, that would be all on the project teams on site, which would either be the project manager or the project superintendent. Best thing to do would be to reach out to someone on our pre-con teams, whether it's myself, John Walker, Joey, and we can point you in the right direction, with regards to what opportunities are available and who's the right person to connect with.
Okay, thank you. This one is, are there any requirements to be able to work with McCarthy, like any specific certifications?
With regards to requirements, it's just, again, going back to the pre-qualification, any purchase order greater than $100,000 and any subcontract agreement greater than $50,000 does require that firm or entity to be pre-qualified with McCarthy.
So if you need any help there.
Less than those dollar amounts does not require that pre-qualification, but it's always a good idea to go ahead and get pre-qualified. That way, once you're in the system, it's easy to be able to work on contracts or POs that are larger than what that initial one is for. With regards to specific certifications, we don't require or have a specific certification. If there are Hub or MWSBE certifications, it's always good to have those so that we know what entities or what agencies you're certified with. And as we're pursuing those projects, we can make sure that you're on the bid list.
Okay. And what is the site for the bid list? You remember it's a couple of screens back, the name of the site where you can bid. There it is.
So that is built. We use Building Connected, and McCarthy will send a link to all of the subcontractors that has the information pertaining to a particular pursuit that we're chasing. We typically will break it out into different work packages. Our commercial folks, and Joey can talk through a little bit, will have a lot more work packages than we might have on our marine side. But we send the link through Building Connected. All communication occurs through Building Connected. One thing to be mindful of with Building Connected, sometimes we send an invite out and it may get lost in a spam folder. So, just periodically check your spam folder, especially if you've had a conversation with one of the estimating leads or one of the pre-con leads, and you don't see that link, check your spam folder because more than likely it might be in there.
Yeah, and a lot of our projects are set to private on Building Connected, depending on what they are. There are some projects that do need to be set to public view, just due to the owner or what the requirement of that specific project. So I would definitely say start with one of us. We can definitely help you get on our bid list, work you through the process on how to get on there, and understand a little bit more about your scopes of work. And that'll help us kind of figure out which way you need to go with it and get you on the invite list for specific projects.
Okay, thank you guys. At Work Personnel wants to know, they are temp staffing and direct hire. We absolutely love special projects. So I guess they're looking for their fit contact person or the process they would have to follow to be able to, do hiring for you guys.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Jamil. I was just gonna say, I think it depends on the type of employee you're looking at. If it's a salary employee or craft, we do have an in-house craft management team that helps us bring on craft. We're roughly running about 400 craft laborers here in the Houston area or Texas market right now. So we have a robust craft group. So our craft managers can definitely help understand what you can provide, what services you can provide to us, and if it's of use. So I definitely think that's something you can reach out to Adrian as the email's on there or myself, and we can help you get in contact with that person.
Okay, good. For Port Houston, the website is, oh, I'm sorry, Adele, you put that in there. I'm glad you provided that so they can jot down the byspeed.porthouston.com so that they could participate in the port activities.
Yeah, I again definitely recommend everyone to look at it. I know that there's a small contract right now for one of the container yards for security cameras, and it's a fairly simple, just security camera, some low voltage cable, that could easily be handled by a firm, a small business firm that specializes in that type of work.
Okay. There seems to be a janitorial company that would like to send you their capability statement. I guess they would just send it to Ms. Williams or
Yes,
Oh,
they can
okay.
send it to me. Yeah, that can be one I
Alrighty.
can reach out to multiple projects for opportunities.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, what makes the difference between a good McCarthy business partner and an excellent McCarthy business partner?
Relationship, communication.
Mhm.
I think the most important thing, and we stress that with everyone, is building those relationships. And that starts with communication, right? We know, like, with all of us over here right now, we're on the pre-construction side of things. We know the level of effort it takes to put together a proposal, to put together a bid. If you find that you're not successful, ask for some feedback, and you may not get it right away because we're still working through, a decision-making process, but please reach out and, ask for some feedback. We're open to giving feedback to make sure that you're successful on the next proposal or the one after that. When we look at or when we make a decision on who we're moving forward with, it's not necessarily price driven. Depending upon the project, it may be heavily skewed towards safety. It could be some prior project experience. It could be personnel that are needed on site. So we look at each project differently depending upon what the requirements or what the hot buttons are with our client.
Just
So
to add to that deal, I think, we have 3 core values here at McCarthy that we like to embody on every project, which is we, not I, all in and genuine. So I'd say that's probably to us what makes a good trade partner an excellent trade partner, is just being able to hold those same core values. We all believe in them very deeply here. Being 100% employee owned, it makes us push them even harder. So I think if you start with those, you'll be doing just fine.
Thank you. Okay, we have a new business and they're interested in getting on the data center project as a sub. And they're just concerned what's their chances of, submitting information, knowing that they're a new business.
Yeah, that's a great question, especially with data centers. Data centers are very unique. A lot of owners require certain trade partners to be involved because it's a lot of proprietary information that they have, and they know these trade partners very well. It really depends on the scope of work you're looking to perform. That'll help us identify the best possibility for you. We want to ensure we're not wasting anyone's time on a specific project, so we make that very known. The owner is requiring us to use subcontractor X. However, if there's other opportunities to either get you engaged on a specific scope of work or have you partner with that subcontractor, we'll look for ways to do that.
Okay. Are there partner development program opportunities scheduled?
We don't have an actual, next cohort currently scheduled. We're actually doing, in the process, we're doing, a mentor protege, I'll use that word loosely, but we're doing some ongoing work with those who were previously in our program. So that's something we're still looking at, of kind of when we'll schedule the next one, maybe perhaps next year or two with all the work we coming on, but we don't have it identified just yet. But still feel free to reach out to me. I can, certainly I want like to get to know you and your information so that when we do, I'll have your information, but we don't have anything scheduled right now at this time.
Okay, thank you. I think you're going to be popular, but okay. We have a participant from Top Choice Laboratory, and they would like to know how their company can partner with you guys offering drug testing and fingerprint background checks.
Yeah, with that, I think we can point them to our safety team that leads that effort around drug testing and background checks. Again, if they want to share or leave their contact information, I can forward that information to our safety team.
Okay. Here we go. Has McCarthy opened their special projects division in Houston that focuses on smaller projects?
Take that for the Houston market. I actually lead our pre-construction efforts for that group. There's another senior estimator, Michael Villarreal, who is actually doing the estimating for it. I just help him oversee. So we call it Specialized Solutions Group, SSG, where we primarily focus on healthcare, life science, and other work that may come up. Those project values typically range from around the 1 million to 30 million total project, not scope specific, but total project cost. That group will handle those efforts. So if you are interested, let me know what scope of work you're interested in, and we can help you kind of lead that way.
Okay. And this one seems to be for us. Can attendees get access to the slides shared today on the webinar. And yes, you will if you were registered. We'd have your email to share this. We're also on YouTube, so you can check us MBDA out on YouTube, and you'll see the presentation again in its full context. Okay. We seem to have an earthwork service participant here, and they're registered with ISN and AVITA and have a good safety record. During what stage is it best to start looking out for earthwork, heavy construction, oil and gas, petrochemical, and commercial? Who would be the contact?
Yeah, so earthwork's one of those scopes that's pretty much on every type of project. We have it on our end. Joey's got it on his end. John Walker's got it on their projects as well. And it's typically one of the first scopes of work that needs to be done on most projects. So, reaching out to the teams early. And again, it's going to be identified or should be identified within the bid packages that we submit through Building Connected. With regards to what's required, what the specific asks, or what the specific scope is going to be as it relates to the earthwork that's needed. With regards to contacts, again, it could be, just depending upon if it falls under a marine or industrial project, that'll fall with myself. If it's going to be a water treatment plant or any water type project, that's going to be John Walker and his team. And if it's a commercial project, it'll be Joey and his team. So, reach out to any one of us and we can point you in the right direction if it's not with us.
Okay. Does McCarthy need a direct point of contact for electricity? This is Robert with Reliant Business. He specializes in meter sets, all and any permit hurdles to get temporary and permanent meters to the job site. He wants you to point him in the right direction with a contact.
Yeah, I think it would be very valuable to have a contact at Reliant. I feel like it's always hard getting a hold of someone there, especially when we're looking at temporary meter sets and even permanent meters for that point. I think the right person would be probably someone from our superintendent group. But for now, if they want to send me my information, and I'll type my email address in the chat so everyone has it, and they can shoot me an email, and I'll get them to the right individuals, because that's definitely a very valuable contact to have on our end.
Oh, great. Thank you. Do suppliers count on your internal 20% tier and on Port Houston project tier?
Yes, suppliers do count. Just making sure that everyone is providing a commercially useful function. So being part of the business, making sure that you're incorporating, all aspects of that particular type of scope or service that you're providing.
Thank you. And this question is for Adil. Any opportunities for transportation companies with the port project?
I'm assuming if they're saying transportation, they mean like hauling and potentially logistics is what I'm assuming, and not transportation where I may think of as heavy civil or heavy highway construction. With regards to hauling or logistics, the extent of what we typically see is just bringing construction equipment in and out of the projects. McCarthy does have several trailers that we utilize, that we own, that we utilize to move equipment, but from time to time, there may be subcontracted out depending upon our availability and or the size may be beyond what we can transport. So we are looking out for those subcontracting opportunities. And then sometimes on specific materials like piling that could get to be pretty long, we are looking for transportation on that. Typically, we're dealing with the vendor directly on that, but we can definitely look at potentially carving that out if it makes sense to help promote participation.
Thank you. I agree. I think that's the kind of genre that they were looking for in transportation. I have a question. Our company has been selling shipping and storage containers since 1983 and is woman-owned and certified. What is the best way to get on McCarthy's bid list for the purchase of containers?
So we actually have a new yard director. Our McCarthy yard here in Houston would handle purchasing containers for our project sites. I will type our yard director's email address and y'all can harass him.
Ah! Okay, no problem. Okay, we are an architectural firm and will be very interested in becoming a partner in designing some of the projects. Who is the best contact to submit our information to? Thank you.
McCarthy doesn't do any real design. Typically, design is handled through our owners as a CMAR or competitively sealed bid. So design, bid, build, typical projects. We don't do a lot of design build, which is where we would have the opportunity to partner with a design partner directly. However, we can definitely get you in contact with some of the bigger firms here in the Houston market that may have some need that can help kind of fill that void and see what you can do for them.
Okay. Are there any opportunities for interior design services? And who is the contact?
That's the same thing there. We don't do a
Same
lot of
thing?
interior design of any kind, really. So we can help you partner with some of the bigger firms that we are really used to working with throughout the Houston market and see what we can do for you.
Okay. As well as we have a plumbing trade participant who wants to know how to partner.
We can always use plumbing trades here in Houston and the commercial side of things. I'm sure Deal feels the same way along with water. Yeah, we need all trades right now. So if you have a specific skill you're good at, please let us know.
Okay. As well as we have another participant who is looking for opportunities for service companies that have marine power plant, port authorized sector work, primarily in maintenance and cleaning of heat exchangers, boilers, HVAC systems, etc.
Yeah, I'd say at least from the industrial side of things, we typically are not getting involved with maintenance or cleaning. Most of the work that we do on the industrial front is new work. Joey can maybe talk a little bit about the commercial space and if there's opportunities there.
Yeah, we sometimes have a unique project that comes up that will require us to refurbish an existing unit to use for a different build out space or something in that way. We do a lot of new construction. And when we do renovations, a lot of times it's taking out the old and putting in new. But I still think it'd be a valuable contact to have. So if you could pass along your information, we never know what we can run into where we're going to be like, hey, we really need someone to help us with that. So I could definitely see that come up.
Okay. And it appears that we have a participant who's having trouble making contact with McCarthy on bidding opportunities. We may need to show the Bid Connect screen again so they can get the website to sign up and start participating in bid opportunities.
Yeah, and again, with regards to that, I mean, just trying to be specific, we get a lot of emails that will say that, they provide services, but then don't elaborate on what services are being provided. So, please be specific. We get hundreds of emails. It makes it easier for us to try to point you in the right direction, So, with South Coast carriers, I mean, if it's a logistics type firm, then, it helps understanding where we may point that individual to. So they're not wasting their time and we're not wasting ours.
Okay. Alrighty. You have a company, Omni, who's a cleaning company, and they're currently working with you. But it seems they want to get specifics on the life science building, the the one in St. Elizabeth Hospital in Beaumont, and the data center. When will these projects coming out and be available for bid?
Yeah, Avery, I would definitely say, I know we've worked with you in the past. All those projects are kind of panning out to come out in Q2, probably around May is where I'm seeing most of them shoot out. But reach out to your best contact here, commercial office. If you need to, you can reach out to me too. We can definitely get in contact with the right people. But those they're coming. They just haven't been issued yet.
Okay. And in the chat, there are several things you provided to us, email addresses and stuff, which is very helpful. Thank you very much.
Someone asked a question, Ms. Deidra. Who's the contact person for corporate training at McCarthy?
It's in there.
No, we haven't provided the corporate training individual yet.
Okay.
What we can do, Marshette, is get back to you on that because we've got a couple of folks here in Houston, and then we also have like overall corporate. So just trying to figure out who's the right individual, to send information to. So we'll provide a name on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I apologize for skipping it. There is a architect firm that would love to see how they can be of service from designing new construction projects from start to finish.
Yeah, again, that would be more owner driven from our side of things here as a construction manager, general contractor.
Okay. Did I miss anything, Marshette?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's the end of the questions.
Wow, thank you all so much for your questions. Wow, this has been almost a full 30 minutes of questions. So thank you. And certainly thank you to our corporate partners, McCarthy. You all, as always, have done a phenomenal job. Adil, you had quite a few questions in the chat. So I'm sure that I will get some emails and say, hey, I want to speak to Adil. So I'll just forward those to you.
Sounds good.
It always happens. But yeah, thank you all so much. This has been wonderful. Adrian, we appreciate you and the entire team so very much for the corporate partnership, for your responsiveness to us whenever we call. And we are certainly looking forward to growing and expanding and building upon our relationship. So again, thank you everybody, to all of our attendees. Thank you to certainly our corporate partner, McCarthy. Thank you, my team. Thank you guys so much for all that you do. This has been wonderful. So thank you. Have a fantastic afternoon, everybody.